my name is Hido, and welcome to the Pantheon, where still we venture into the deepest, darkest depths, and we're investigating for clues. Oh, it's Eloise, Nephalia, Sleuth. 5 mana for a 4/4 human rogue. Whenever another creature you control dies, investigate. Interestingly, that is also tokens, so tokens dying triggers this. And investigate, you create a clue artifact token with pay 2, sacrifice it to draw a card. Pretty damn decent. And whenever you sacrifice a token, surveil 1, which means look at the top card, either put it into your graveyard or into your top of your library. You don't put it into your hand. That's what the clues are for. You find the clue, you surveil. Ooh. We're going deep and finding lots of mysterious things. So this is a really cool card. And on that last ability, it sacrifices a token. It doesn't have to be a creature token. So sacrificing the clue token gets us that surveil. So really, really interesting and cool card. You know, it does a lot of things. And you know, that sort of investigative mindset, you know, maybe she's a bit like a Sherlock character. You can make a sort of theme deck around that, but I'm not into all that sort of stuff. What I am into is you subscribing to my YouTube channel. If you like these sort of videos, I'm going to be doing one for every legendary creature ever printed, but at the moment we're in Midnight Hunt, so come and join me. Without further ado, let's have a look at my top 5. And at number 5, well, what have we got? Well, it's Erdwell Illuminator. So we're going to be investigating, so let's investigate twice. You know, that's the key to good police work. You don't just, you know, take things on face value. You look at them again. You investigate them twice. Christ. 2 mana for a 1/3 spirit. Ooh. It's got flying, and whenever you investigate for the first time each turn, investigate an additional time. So yes, it only triggers on the first investigate, but we could be, you know, getting an extra card out of that, an extra token, extra surveils. Really, really nice. To go along with it, Academy Manufacturer is incredible. 3 mana for a 1/3 assembly worker. If you would create a clue, food, or treasure token, instead, create one of each. So we're going to be making a lot of clues from all our tokens or creatures dying. And then we make a treasure and a food. So treasure, straight away you can sacrifice it, and that meets the requirement to surveil. So every time you sack a treasure, you get to surveil 1. So that'll be coming up in a bit. And then the food, well, it sits there and then you gain some life eventually, maybe, if you're bothered. I'm not really, but it's mainly the treasure that I want. Then Tamio's Journal with all of these investigates, all these clues. We can use this. 5 mana, legendary artifact. At the beginning of your upkeep, investigate. So you get a clue and tap, sacrifice three clues. Search your library for a card, put that card into your hand, and then shuffle your library. So that will trigger, you know, we get to surveil 3 as well as search for a card. Absolutely fantastic. This card is great in the deck. Then a brand new card here, Secrets of the Key. You just put it in the lock. Easy. 1 blue for an instant. Investigate. Wow. If the spell was cast from your graveyard, investigate twice. Wow. So this is a nice little filler card. It gives us those tokens. You know, we've got a lot of artifact synergies we're going to be using. So this, it is expensive to draw a card, but I think because it fits on theme, it's really quite good. And late game, if you see it on top, you can actually surveil it into your graveyard and then flash it back to get a couple of clues, which is a nice bit of synergy, I believe. Brings me on to number 4, and at number 4, there's Deadly Dispute. And, you know, we were talking about treasures. This makes a treasure. Pay 2, it's an instant. As an additional cost to cast this spell, sacrifice an artifact or creature. So we're using those clue tokens for a different purpose. Yes, we could sacrifice them to draw cards, but we can also use them to sacrifice to cast spells. And draw 2 cards and create a treasure token, which then we can sacrifice that to surveil. Absolutely fantastic. Digs us through the deck. We're going to be sacrificing a creature, so we'll get a clue token as well. This card just does so much for the deck. Similarly, we've got Ruthless Knave, a fantastic sacrifice outlet. 3 mana for a 3/2, pay 3 and sacrifice a creature. So paying 3 is steep, but you create 2 colours as treasure tokens. They can be sacrificed for mana. So you're getting your mana back and you're getting lots of surveils from sacrificing your treasure, which just fits fantastically. Then, if you sacrifice 3 treasures, draw a card. So again, just card advantage spilling out of everything. This is a great card for the deck. Then the Skullport Merchant. 3 mana for a 1/4. When it enters the battlefield, create a treasure token. So again, sacrifice it to get a surveil, dig through the deck. Then pay 2, sacrifice another creature or a treasure, draw a card. So yes, it is limited to treasures. It's not just artifacts, but this is a nice sacrifice outlet for our creatures. Maybe we've got a bunch of tokens, possibly. Who would have thought? And then you can sacrifice them, draw the cards. Really, really nice. Then there's Treasure Map. 2 mana for an artifact, pay 1, tap, scry ones, and sadly not surveil. Put a landmark counter on it, and then if 3 or more landmark counters are on it, remove those counters, transform it, and create 3 colours treasure artifacts. Tap for a mana. And then on the other side, it becomes a land that you can tap, sacrifice a treasure, draw a card. So another great way, a nice little sacrifice outlet for your treasures. You're making mana. Oh, incredible. I love this card. I love it. It's so, so cool. I put it in a lot of my non-green decks because I like the ramp. And it's also, you know, if you're sort of ahead in the game, you can just draw a bit of cards. Which brings me on to Fane, the broker. We're drawing cards, we're making money, loads of dosh. She's brokering out stocks. 3 mana for a 3/3 human warlock. Tap, sacrifice a creature. So there you go. We can sacrifice a creature to get our clue token. To put 2 on 1 counters on target creature. Remove a counter from a creature you control. Create a treasure token. Not really going to use that much, but then you can sacrifice an artifact to create a 2/1 white and black inkling creature token with flying. So another thing that we can sacrifice to get this. Oh, there's so many little synergies with this card, and then you can pay 4 mana to untap him. So if you've got loads of mana, this guy can just go off. He's fantastic in the deck. Then Idol of Oblivion, 2 mana for an artifact. Draw a card, activate its ability, only if you created a token this turn. So we're not just going to be creating tokens from our commander. A lot of the cards we're talking about create tokens. And this doesn't specify creature tokens, so all of the clues that we make with our commander, this will trigger it. So a nice bit of card draw there. And then you can pay 8 and tap it, sacrifice it, create a 10/10 colorless Eldrazi creature token. Eldrazi's, you know, they're looming on the sort of outside. Are they going to show up? Yes, they're going to be in the next section. But then there's Treasure Vault, an artifact land that taps for a colours. Pay double X and tap, sacrifice it, creates X treasure token. So this can just end up surveilling through your entire deck, really, if you've got enough mana. Really, really nice. I love a land that has an effect. Which brings me on to number 3, and I think I might have spoiled it. It's Eldrazi, or at least Eldrazi Tokens. 3 mana for a 2/2 Pawn of Ulamog. Whenever it or another non-token creature you control dies, you may create a 0/1 colourless Eldrazi spawn creature token. It has sacrifice a creature, add a colourless mana. The really awesome thing about this is, you know, we're going to get some value making tokens. We're going to be sacrificing things to our commander or whatever, making tokens. This is everything in one. It's a token that sacrifices itself for mana. So we're going to be surveilling and getting the clue token from the little spawns. Absolutely amazing. Dread Drone. Ah, my throat exploded there. 5 mana for a 4/1 Eldrazi drone. When it enters the battlefield, put 2 0/1 colours Eldrazi spawn tokens onto the battlefield. They have sacrifice, add a colourless mana. So this is a cool card. It's you know, it's not stereotypically powerful, but the great thing is you could keep those tokens on the battlefield. Next turn you untap. That's 2 extra mana you can use. Get lots of surveilling. Maybe you get into casting some big Eldrazi. There's a lot of things you can do with that mana. Then there's Drowner of Hope. 6 mana for a 5/5 Devoid, so it's colourless. Ooh. And whenever it enters the battlefield, put 2 1/1 colourless Eldrazi signing tokens onto the battlefield. They have sacrifice, you know, do blah, 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 blah. Sacrifice an Eldrazi sign, tap target creature. So will that come up? Probably not. We're just going to use those tokens to make mana, but it's a nice big body. Maybe you have a Flicker sub-theme. It works really well with the Dread Drone, with the Drowner of Hope, a couple of other cards, and you can get a lot of value from getting those tokens and sacrificing the surveilling, getting the clues. Then there's the Sifter of Skulls, which is just a bigger version of the Pawn of Ulamog. 4 mana for a 4/3 with Devoid, so it's colourless. Whenever a non-token creature you control dies, put a 1/1 Eldrazi sign creature token on this battlefield. So again, nice sack outlet there. Really, really nice. Although it is another, so it doesn't count itself, so it's a bit worse. Then a really cool card here is Warping Whale. 2 mana for an instant. Choose one of 3 modes. Exile target creature with power and toughness, or toughness 1 or less. So that hits a lot of commanders, a lot of just good cards. So we could exile something, or you can counter target sorcery spells. So if we've got a great board state, we could counter that Wrath of God that's coming our way. Great mode, and then put a 1/1 colorless Eldrazi Tokens creature token on the battlefield. It has sacrifice a creature, add a colorless. So usually that is by far the worst mode. But because it works so well and so synergistically with our commander, I really like every mode on this card. Then, I told you, I love a land that has an effect. Spawning Bed is a land. Tap for a generic. Then pay 6 and tap. Sacrifice it. Put 3 Eldrazi tokens onto the field. So 3, surveils. 3 token clues. It works great. And, it's just a late game effect that could really help accelerate you and dig you through your deck to the, your win conditions. Finally, we got the worst card here by far. Carrier Thrall, 2 mana for a 2/1. When it dies, put a 1/1 Eldrazi token onto the field. If you want to really fill that gap, if you want to go deep into the Eldrazi Science, this is 2 bodies in 1 and sacrifices itself for a mana. So it works out well. Which brings me on to number 2. And at number 2, we've got Herald of Anguish. And these are ways to make use of all of the artifacts we're going to be making, because all of those clues are artifacts. 7 mana for a 5/5, but it has improvise. Your artifacts can help cast this spell. Aren't they helpful? Each artifact you tap after you're done activating mana abilities pays for a colorless. So you just have to pay double black, tap 5 of your clues, and you get this beastie on the field. But wait, there's more. At the beginning of your end step, each opponent discards a card, so that's really quite good. You're going to get that effect more than likely. And then there's a dog. Pay 2, sacrifice an artifact. Target creature gets -2/-2 until end of turn. So a good sacrifice outlet for all these clues. Say you don't want to draw any more cards. I don't know what situation you'd ever be in that is the case, but you can sacrifice them to kill a couple of creatures. Really, really good. Then with all of these artifacts, we're not playing that many artifacts, so Inspiring Statuary is a wonderful card for the deck. 3 mana for an artifact. Non-artifact spells you cast have improvise. That includes your commander. So all of your clue tokens can help cast your commander. Hey! It even pays for the commander tax as well, or just any of the big spells you've got. If you've got 10 clue tokens, well, you can just cast Ulamog off that. Well, there's Ulamog. The new Ulamog, anyway. That costs 10. Then we've got Kesk, the Flesh Sculptor, 3 mana for a 1/3. Tap, sacrifice 3 other artifacts and or creatures. So all of our clue tokens can go bye-bye. And then we can look at the top 3 cards of your library, put 2 of them into your hand and the other into your graveyard. It's got partner, that doesn't matter. But this is great because, 6 mana, you're going to have to pump in sacrifices and get 3 cards. This can just sacrifice those clues and we get 2 cards at least. Then we fill the graveyard with the other. Then if you do want to search up a certain artifact, maybe your Inspiring Statuary, Whir of Invention is phenomenal. Triple blue and X and has improvise. Search your library for an artifact card with convert mana cost X or less, put it onto the battlefield, then shuffle your library. So you just get whatever you need in that moment. Fantastic. Then similarly, we've got Kuldotha Forgemaster. 5 mana for a 3/5. Tap, sacrifice 3 artifacts, search your library for an artifact card and put it onto the battlefield, then shuffle your library. So really, really good. It does exactly the same thing, except it's on a 3/5, so it's more targetable with removal. And then these last 2, they're not really about artifacts. These are more about creatures, because we're going to have a lot of creatures dying. Crowded Crypt, I don't know, my mind fell to pieces there, is a 3 mana artifact that taps for a black. So it's not mana ficting, but it is a bit of ramp. Whenever a creature you control dies, put a corpse counter on it. That includes tokens. And then pay 6 and tap it, sacrifice it, create a 2/2 black zombie creature token with Decayed for each corpse counter on it. And Decayed means that they can't block, and after they attack during the end of combat step, you sacrifice them. So that's going to create a ridiculous amount of surveils and also a ridiculous amount of clues. Really, really great card. Then there's Liliana Dreadhorde General. 6 mana for a 6/11 planeswalker. Whenever a creature you control dies, draw a card. And again, importantly, that is non-token creature. No, it's not. No, I'm lying completely to you. It's any creature. It doesn't matter whether the token or that. That's what I wanted to say. I'm an idiot. So this is fantastic with all of those scions and stuff like that can sacrifice themselves, draw your cards. +1, create a 2/2 black zombie creature token. -4, each player sacrifice 2 creatures. Well, that's really good for us. We're going to get some surveils and stuff like that. And also our opponents will be crippled. Then -6, each opponent chooses a permanent they control of each permanent type and sacrifices the rest. If you get that off, by God, you've probably won. Which brings me on to number 1. And at number 1, this is a very specific card. And I don't think this is particularly for every sort of build of the deck. But it's a sacrifice outlet and it's just so cool. It is Mask of the Mimic. 1 blue for an instant. Sacrifice a creature is an additional cost to cast this. Search your library for any copy of target creature card and put it into play. Shuffle your library afterwards. So, the cool thing about this is we can target our opponent's creatures. So say they're playing, some ubiquitous creature like Solemn Simulacrum. Well, if it's in our deck, we sacrifice one of our little tokens, get a surveil and all that. Then we get to tutor our Solemn straight onto the battlefield at instant speed. It's just such a cool card. And I thought this deck could maybe lead into, things like Shadowborn Apostles. Single black for a 1/1. A deck may have any number of Shadowborn Apostles, cards name them. Pay a black and sacrifice 6 creatures named Shadowborn Apostles. Search your library for a demon creature card, put it onto the battlefield, then shuffle your library. So that is going to trigger a bunch of tokens being made, a bunch of card draw tokens if we sacrifice all 6. And with the mask, maybe we could tutor one up. I mean, it's not the best thing in the world, I'll admit. But something that's better is, a rat package. A package of rats. It's just opened up, they've gone, Rah! Anyway, 2 mana for a star in Pack Rat. Power and toughness at each equals the number of rats you control. Pay 3, discard a card, put a token onto the battlefield that's a copy of Pack Rat. So it's a token creature. When it dies, you're going to get both of the effects, which is really nice. And it'll just grow and grow and grow. And the cool thing with Mask of the Mimic is if you somehow manage to shuffle the original Pack Rat in, you can tutor it out, using one of the tokens as the target. Then there's Relentless Rats, the big part of the rat package. 3 mana for a 2/2, it gets +1/+1 for each other creature on the battlefield named Relentless Rats. A deck may have any number of cards named Relentless Rats, so you can just pile tons of rats in there, and then this Mask of the Mimic will just tutor one out. And then, speaking of ubiquitous cards that you might see in a lot of people's decks, Solemn Simulacrum, 4 mana, Golem. When it enters the battlefield, search your library for a basic land card, put it onto the battlefield tapped, shuffle, and when it dies, you may draw a card. It's just great value all around, and if your opponent has one, well, Mask of the Mimic says, ooh, I'll have one of them as well. Similarly, Venser is a great card, and it sees quite a bit of play, especially after it's been printed a bit. And the cool thing with Mask of the Mimic is really tailor what you want to pull out of your deck to what your sort of local meta is playing. So they might not be playing Venser, they might be playing Stormtide Leviathan. Well, Mask of the Mimic can get you a Stormtide Leviathan, things like that. Flash, enter the battlefield, target spell or permanent to its owner's hand. Bing bang bosh. It's a 2/2. Then this is actually one of the most played cards according to EDH Rec. Notion Thief, utterly miserable. Why are people playing this so much? It's horrible. 4 mana, 3/1 with flash. If your opponent would draw a card except the first one they draw in each of their draw steps, instead that player gets that draw and you draw a card. So you can have a copy as well. Hooray! Absolutely fantastic. And those are my top 5 picks for this brand new commander. Really quite cool. A lot of surveilling, a lot of clues. What's under there? Ooh, is that a clue? Yes, it is. So if you've enjoyed this video, please do like, comment, subscribe, share. Not the singer. Just send the video to your friends. And anyway, I'll see you soon. Bye.